Hey y'all, I'm Rylan. Welcome to my channel. Since I've gotten back into reading, romance has very much been on the back burner for me, but I recently had the opportunity to go to a romance author book convention here in Nashville, and it was so much fun. And going to that event and getting to meet all these authors and getting to see more of their books made me realize how much I was really missing the romance genre and how much I really want to get back into it. So to kind of help motivate me in doing so, I am here today to start a reading vlog where I read just a couple of romance books to slowly get myself back into this genre. I have two books in front of me. Both of them seem to be pretty short books. I actually met one of these authors at the convention, and then the other author I'll be reading for a convention that I'm going to next month in Knoxville for another romance author reader event, which I'm very excited about. But I'm going to be tabbing and annotating both of these books, and I'm hoping that by reading them I get back into my romance era, because I really have missed it, and I have so many romance books on my shelves that I just look at and I just haven't been interested in reading recently. But I'm kind of feeling right now that I'm kind of ready to jump back into those books. So the first book that I'll be reading for this vlog is The Bourbon Bride by Adrienne R. Hale. I actually got to meet her at the Nashville convention. She signed my book that I had brought. She said, "Rylan, you really are the perfect woman." She signed the book for me, and then she also gave me a friendship bracelet that says princess on it, so kind of obsessed with that. She was really funny and really sweet, and I kept looking at this book after the event, and then my boyfriend picked out which one from the stack that I had gotten for or at the event to read, and he picked this one for me to pick up because I was like, I really want to read romance, so you pick out what I should read first from this big old stack that I got at that event. So he picked out this one, but also I was kind of really looking forward to reading it anyway after meeting her. So I will be starting this book hopefully very soon. I'm in the middle of another vlog right now, but once that one wraps up, I do plan to start this one. It looks a little bit thick, I feel like, compared to the second book, but it's only 345 pages and the text is pretty big, so I anticipate it being a pretty quick read. I love this cover. Definitely gives off southern vibes, which it does take place in the South here in the US, and I think it's going to be a fun and spicy time. Her big thing at her table was like she writes spicy romance, so I do have high hopes for this book. I'm hoping it'll be a quick and fun and just happy read that gets me feeling good about the genre again. I will be annotating this book. I just need to find a palette that looks good with this cover. The second book that I'll be reading is from an author that I'll be meeting in August in just a couple of weeks out in Knoxville for the Rockin' Romance Readers Convention, which I'm very excited about. And that author is C. Holman, and by her I will be reading The Hate Vow. I have heard of this author before. I have not read any of her books, so I'm excited to jump into this one that I had purchased specifically for this event. I have been trying to collect some books ahead of time. That way I hopefully don't spend as much money on the day of the event, because in my brain that makes things better. But pick this one largely because I've been focusing on shorter books recently. Also, I love a good enemies to lovers book, and this seems like it's going to fit that trope, as well as the marriage of convenience or arranged marriage trope. I'm not sure which one it will be, but it's definitely something regarding weddings, because we have the word vow in it. I guess is what the vow part means, but I guess it could just be like a promise. I don't know. They're definitely enemies though, because Ryder, who is our main male character, his POV thing on the back says, "I hated her from the moment we met. My hate has only grown over the years. I lost everything because of her, went to jail, and became the man I am today. So when she shows up at my club, unable to repay her debts, I can't believe my luck. She owes me more than the $5,000, and I'm going to enjoy making her pay." It sounds like it's gonna be like a marriage one where like he makes her marry him, but I don't know, maybe it's not, but that's what I'm getting from this book. So I guess we'll find out when I get to it. I do try not to like analyze the back of books too much, but that's okay. Sometimes it is fun to read them out loud for y'all, because the back of the book obviously knows more than I do right now. So I'll be jumping into this one once I finish The Bourbon Bride, but I do plan to annotate this one as well. I think it would be fun to annotate it, read it, annotate it, and then get to meet the author and have her be able to like flip through my tabs as well as sign my book. So it's going to be super fun. I'm hoping that my love of romance is still just as strong as it was before, but going to the Nashville Book Convention definitely spurred on my desire to continue reading romance because I have missed it. I just have been more of a thriller girly recently as I've been getting back into reading in general because I was in a slump for months and just did not have very much time to even try to get back into reading. So I am looking forward to doing this. I'm hoping that both of these books end up being just what I need. I bet they will be. I'm very excited about it, but I'll update y'all every 50% of the way through these books, so it'll probably be a little bit before my first update because I'm not starting these books quite yet. But once I do, and once I reach the halfway mark, I will hop back in here with my very first update, give y'all a synopsis for The Bourbon Bride as well as my current thoughts on the book. Hi. I don't know what that was, but hello. I'm here with my first, I guess, official update for this vlog because I, as of a couple of days ago, reached the 50% mark in The Bourbon Bride by Adrienne R. Hale, and so far it is super fun. I will say that it felt a little bit clunky at first, and I think that can often be the case when it comes to writing from the first person perspective, especially when you're writing in the first person perspective and also in the present tense. So I was kind of feeling a little bit awkward at first with the writing, but as I'm getting further into it, I am very much enjoying it. I think the pacing is very quick. The chapters are a little bit longer, but they don't feel super long, and I feel as though I'm making pretty good progress in a good amount of time with this one when I do have the time to pick it up. I'm hoping to finish it up by early next week. I have an early dismissal tomorrow for work because it's like the end of our summer term, and then next week is just like professional development with our classrooms and like some behavioral things that we'll be like going to meetings about for my school. But I'm excited to do all that and get a new crew of preschoolers in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, not having kids means that like my days should look a little bit lighter in terms of like when I can be in and out of the building. So I'm hoping to finish this one up early next week. But this is a romance, a Southern romance about Hayes and Paige. And Paige is the daughter of a very wealthy couple, and she has officially had her debutante ball and has been presented to society several years later after everybody else usually is because she refused to do it any sooner. She wanted to go to college first, get her degree, and then she allowed her parents to do this whole shebang for her. At her ball, she runs into this man named Hayes, who is super wealthy. He's a billionaire. He is a CFO of this huge company, and turns out he has actually been wanting to acquire Paige's dad's company. So they don't know that he wants this yet, but they're kind of both trying to get the other person to fall in love with them for their own reasons. And Paige is like on the run from her family, and the insta-lust is very much there. Nothing really has happened yet between the two of them, but like they are very much feeling that lust for each other, which has been like a little bit fast, I feel like, but also I don't hate it in this case. I do feel as though that is a very touchy trope to utilize in romance, but for right now I don't hate it. I also found out that this book apparently ends on a cliffhanger, so I did buy the second book. It's over there somewhere, but I'm afraid that if this one ends like really terribly, I'm gonna have to go ahead and jump right into that. But I'm not gonna do that for this vlog because I want to read the hate vow for my second book for this vlog, but I'm a little bit nervous because I saw online that it may or may not end in a sad way that will make me want to keep reading, but we'll see. So far I do really like it. I do think that Hayes is a very sweet character who tries to hide behind this mask or this persona in front of other people that kind of like shows him as mean, spiteful, like just very harsh, I guess, with his personality. But when it comes to Paige, it's very evident that like he's already falling for her, even though he keeps saying that he wants to do this for business reasons. But I know that there's more to them than that. So I'm enjoying it so far. Definitely gotten more into it the further along I've gotten, of course. I am flowing with the style of writing now, so I do enjoy that. But I'm hoping to finish it up very soon. I do have some really good tabs in here so far. There have been some very quotable moments with our characters, and I'm excited to see where their story goes, albeit a little scared because it might end on a cliffhanger, but we'll see. That's all that I have for my first updates. I'll hop back in here soon, hopefully in the next couple of days when I finish this book up. And I'm excited just regardless of how much I end up liking this one, because I'm liking the romance genre. I'm liking reading again, and that's more than I can say I was doing a few months ago. So I am having a good time with this book so far, and I cannot wait to finish it up.
I get lost inside my thoughts, and when I start to think, oh, the door closest starts to end up on the brink. I tried so hard, but all these scars, they cut so deep, I bleed. I fell so fast from heaven, it's like someone clipped my wings. Now I'm falling.
Alright y'all, I'm here with another update because I finished, as of last night, The Bourbon Bride, and I ended up giving this book 3 stars. I was honestly really enjoying it. It very much felt like insta-love to me, but I could get behind it in the case of this book simply because it was fun. It captured my attention even if the writing was a little bit awkward at first. I did get used to it. I liked it. I really like these two characters and going back and forth between their POVs and watching them very quickly fall in love. However, the last 60 pages or so kind of diminished my overall rating of the book, largely because I felt as though everything went wrong very quickly. This book does kind of end on a cliffhanger in terms of the characters not being together at this exact moment. I'm sure book 2 will end with a happily ever after, but I feel as though within the last couple of chapters, everything came to a head super duper quickly in a way that felt very rushed to me. And the conflict could have been, it could have gone about in a different way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So while I liked it, I didn't end up loving it. However, I do think that the sequel could turn things around for me. So 3 stars to The Bourbon Bride. I have all the content warnings for this book listed down below. I did like it. I will be curious to see how their story ends. Not going to read the second book yet, but I do plan to pick it up soon. I did get it in the mail last week. So 3 stars to The Bourbon Bride. Because I finished that book yesterday, I plan to start The Hate Vow by C. Hallman this week / this weekend, this upcoming weekend. I'm actually meeting the author on Saturday at a romance book convention in Knoxville, so I'm super excited about that. I would love to start this book before then, get some tabs going in it so I can talk to the author about how I'm enjoying the book so far when I get to meet C. Hallman on Saturday. So that'll be really fun. I have no idea what it's about, but I'm guessing that it's enemies to lovers and something to do with marriage / a proposal. But we will see if I'm wrong or not. It's not a very thick book compared to The Bourbon Bride. It looks tiny, I feel like, so I'm hoping that I make a little bit quicker progress with this book. I will say the text is pretty small. But I did wrap up my last ever class for my master's program, which is very exciting today. So I do think I'll have a little bit more time to read even while I start working on my thesis more consistently. I won't have like multiple assignments due every week for that. So I hope I can finish this book by early next week, but we will see. For now though, that's all that I've got. Once I have an official synopsis for y'all, I will hop back in here to share that. But right now, I've got no idea. I'm just excited to read this book and annotate it and hop back in here soon with my next update. I am officially halfway through The Hate Vow as of a minute and a half ago, and very similarly to The Bourbon Bride, I had a little bit of a challenging time really diving into this book, getting into it. I had a hard time connecting with the way that the story is written. I'm happy to announce that even though like this isn't the most exciting book that I've ever read or like one of my favorites, I can predict that now. I am having a pretty fun time with it. I think it's a very quick story, an intriguing plot line, nothing super like hard to comprehend, which is always great. A good stress like reliever, I guess, from all the thesis work that I've been doing. And I am getting more into it the further into the book I get. This is a motorcycle romance, technically. Apparently we don't really see a lot about this motorcycle club that our main male character Ryder is a VP for, but technically he's part of this motorcycle club, and Penny is on the run from an abusive ex who abused her and threatened to kill her if she ever ran away and he was able to find her. So she finds herself being in debt to Ryder, and he is very harsh with her and is going to make her pay off her debt by living with him in his home and doing things with him, to him, and for him. So that's the overarching plot of the story. There is a lot of spice in it, which I don't love personally. I don't hate it. I feel as though some of the like actual plot of the story is being overshadowed potentially by the sex scenes, so don't love that, but I feel like I kind of expected that with this book just because of things I've seen about this author on Bookstagram and things like that. No, nothing bad, but I just figured that was kind of in the vein that she wrote in. I did get to meet her on last Saturday, which is exciting. She signed my copy of this book for me. I let her know that I was going to be reading it starting the next day, and I had my annotations all lined up already, so that was very exciting. But I did know that she kind of wrote in the vein of spice, heavy spice, so not a surprise to me. I do kind of want to see more plot as well going forward, but I think we might be getting there. There's been a very big shift in Ryder's actions toward Penny, like for the positive. We kind of dive into their past a little bit because they do have a connection from the past, and I want more information about that still, but I do feel as though their relationship is turning into something that's not hate, very, very slowly, but we are getting there a little bit. So that's this book so far. Not my favorite. Don't hate it at all though, by any means. I do like it. I think it's a quick and fast, those are synonyms, a quick read that has held my attention and is something that I can speed through big chunks of in 1 or 2 sittings. I just read 65 pages of this in about 45 minutes, so I do enjoy that when it comes to the books that I pick up. So that's this one so far. I'll hop back in here when I finish the book, and hopefully I will end up enjoying it.
And I can't see the ground. Can we stop this gravity? It keeps bringing me down. I can't breathe and I don't wanna die. Can we stop this gravity? 'Cause I don't wanna say goodbye.
I finished reading The Hate Vow, and I am sad to say that I ended up giving this book 2 stars. I feel as though this book was largely focused on smut and not necessarily like a plot, but I feel like there was a lot to the plot that could have been further explored that wasn't. I felt as though there was a ton that happened in the back half of this book in terms of like kidnapping and like traitors to this motorcycle club and like money laundering and things like that. But like amidst like all of that plot chaos, there was this overshadowing of like sex between the 2 characters, which fine, they had a connection, sure, but I feel as though we kind of like forgot about the plot in order to highlight those other elements of the book, which I didn't exactly love, especially because there was so much potential for the plot and there was so much that could have been explored and described that just wasn't. So I kind of just feel like I was reading the same thing over and over again as the 2 characters, Penny and Ryder, got it on. So unfortunately, I did not end up liking this one very much, but the tabs are pretty, so that's exciting. I did annotate this one, and that's exciting, I guess. But 2 stars to The Hate Vow. Unfortunately, I don't read a lot of motorcycle club romances, and I actually liked the idea of it being played out in this book, but I feel as though I wanted more if we're going to call that a trope of this book or like a subgenre of the romance genre as a whole. I feel like we need more information about that. So that's a kind of bummer, but it's okay. 2 stars to The Hate Vow, which wraps up this getting back into romance reading vlog. Unfortunately, I didn't quite end up falling in love with these 2 books as much as I thought that I would, but I did have a really fun time with The Bourbon Bride overall, and I'm excited to read the sequel to it, especially after this crazy cliffhanger ending between Paige and Hayes. And there were certainly some fun elements to The Hate Vow, but I think I just needed more from the plot and descriptions of this book that just unfortunately were not there. But I do feel as though going to these romance events over the last couple of weeks, getting romance books in the process of these events, these two conventions that I went to, certainly helped kind of remind me of my love for the romance genre. So I do tend to keep on reading it in the upcoming weeks and months. I will probably be jumping back onto a thriller kick just because my thesis is starting and I'm kind of writing like a serial killer thing for my thesis for grad school, so that's exciting. So I'll probably kind of dive back into thrillers, but I do hope to pick up the occasional romance while I'm focusing on those as I find inspiration for my grad school project. But I'm super glad to kind of have rekindled my love for the romance genre. I've got so many romance books on the shelf across from me, and then this one behind me, of course, is all my special edition romances and like a bunch of regular editions of stuff as well. So excited to dive back into this genre that I love so dearly. But the conclusion of the Hate Vow wraps up this reading vlog. So that's all that I have for y'all for today. If you have any romance recommendations, feel free to comment down below and let me know what they are. I love a good romance and can't wait to keep reading them throughout the rest of this year. That's all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.